And please know, I don't think I've cornered the market on how to fix things. I've just being a dad and having to, stuff comes up and I got to just figure out how to do it. There's certain ways, certain things that people might do it differently. That's fine. But if you don't have a way, maybe you can use me as a resource to figure things out. So I'm hoping that that my channel is just a way to empower people.
Every so often, here on YouTube, we do see the overnight sensation that goes from 0 to hundreds of thousands or even millions of subscribers and views overnight. The latest is a channel by the name of DadHowDoI. And today's video is going to explore and maybe venture why he became an overnight sensation. Hey kids, welcome to Straight Talkin' Fedora Chic. And if you are new here, we are a social commentary / storytime channel. And if you're into that kind of thing, please consider subscribing and hit that little ringy-dingy thing below so you can be notified every time I upload or go live. So, since I have been more active on YouTube last year, I had noticed quite a few channels that became overnight sensations. Their success on the platform more or less defying all the rules of many of the YouTube gurus who advise us as content creators. What kind of content do most on YouTube want to watch? Drama?
Hey! Newsflash!
Train wrecks?
Stop feeding the cats!
So it becomes a place where it is okay to be negative in a society that preaches at the altar of positivity 24/7. But that's not all. Many successful channels in every niche, from comedy, good or bad, the cringeworthy to the inspiring, gaming, food, day in the life, you name it, the platform has something for every taste. DadHowDoI is not the first YouTube channel to get 1 million subs and millions of views overnight. We've seen this in recent times, like channels like Joanne Sedia, Janelle Eliana, De Mi Rancho a Tu Cucina, as From My Farm to Your Kitchen. What do they have in common with the latest YouTube sensation, DadHowDoI? All seemingly different people with very different niches, different age groups as well, different generations even. We have the awkward teenage blogger in Joanna Sedia, the fit-looking 20-something who lives in a van with a pet snake, and a Mexican grandmother teaching us how to cook authentic Mexican food. Hint, boys and girls, Taco Bell, the favorite of mukbangers, is not real Mexican food. Without all the flashy kitchen toys we see on shows on the Food Network. With the exception of Janelle Eliana, who is in a category apart from the other three, I am still convinced to this day that she was an industry plant. The grandmother from De Mi Rancho a Tu Cucina, Joanna Sedia, and DadHowDoI are all relatable individuals. From the awkward teenage blogger to the middle-aged dad of adult children serving up how-to videos with kindness to the poor grandmother in Mexico, teaching us how to make authentic Mexican food with what you have, without the flashy toys or the flashy kitchen. All just being themselves, shining through every video. Now there's a concept crazy enough to work. DadHowDoI, what was his overnight success attributed to exactly? Let's take a look at his channel page. The thumbnails do not stand out at all. And the thumbnails look like it's just a snapshot, a still of what was in each of those videos. And this is after, many of the YouTube gurus, they always tell us and they hamper down to us, put work into your thumbnails. Something I've been better at lately. DadHowDoI came onto the scene April 1st of this year, smack in the middle of a quarantine. I think the timing is impeccable here and could have made all the difference. In other words, would he have achieved the overnight success with his channel had he not launched it in the middle of a pandemic? That is a question I'm not going to seek to answer in this video. You can draw your own conclusions or speculations on that, but it is a question worth asking. I will get to the timing of his video later in this video, so stick around. I promise it will be crucial to this discussion. But first, let's take a glance at his channel, his how-to videos. Everything from how to change a tire to how to iron a dress shirt, and to, yes, even how to be good to yourself. But again, there are tons of how-to videos on all those things and more on YouTube. So what is special about DadHowDoI? He's not particularly what one could call handsome or cute by societal beauty standards. He's a plain-looking middle-aged man. Again, something that brings me hope. YouTube is not just for the young and the beautiful anymore. That's a good thing. The videos are all short, the longest being approximately 20 minutes long. No fancy equipment or editing. No snappy editing. Very simple videos. Usually not ideal to build up to the mandatory 4,000 watch hours in 12 months required for monetization along with 1,000 subs. But he somehow made it. But how? For one, his how-to videos are of activities a father would normally teach their children from childhood to adulthood. In the case of his videos, I would suspect that the target audience would be young adults, perhaps those in their late teens as well. He comes off as the kindly father figure who teaches us more than just how to tie a tie or about household repairs, particularly in his last video titled, "I'm Proud of You." Through his videos, we can impart lessons on kindness, empathy, being supportive. In an environment where people have gotten meaner as the quarantine has gone on. All with some rather groaner jokes peppered in.
Okay, so I get a call from my daughter the other day, and she says, "Dad, my toilet won't stop running." And I thought for a second, well, it can't be that fast. When did you catch it? I thought I got to include a dad joke, even though those are a little awkward for me too. So thank you for bearing with me on them. But did you hear the joke about the butter? Or I just blew it. Did you hear the rumor about the butter? Well, I'm not going to spread it.
But he makes them sound endearing. Most of all, like the other YouTubers I mentioned in his video, he is relatable to most folks. So who is the face of DadHowDoI? Well, he is a 50-something Chicago man, Rob Kenny. He is the face behind front and center at DadHowDoI. He came from humble beginnings. He grew up in a large, rather dysfunctional family of many siblings, an alcoholic father, and a father who would later leave all of his children after winning custody of them through the court system, telling them that he no longer wanted them in his life anymore. So Mr. Rob Kenny grew up during those crucial teen years without a father or any father figure. This which sets many, if not most, on a path that is problematic in adulthood. But not Mr. Rob Kenny. His story, which is continuing, it would appear, becomes happy. Contrary to his upbringing, he is still married to the mother of his children, now for close to 30 years. something we don't see as often nowadays. His 2 children are now grown, who have careers of their own. Rob Kenny said that he wanted to raise his kids to be good adults. Not just good children, but to be good adults. I will link an article about him in the pinned comment below if you want to learn more about Rob Kenny of DadHowDoI, the backstory. While a compelling story gets most people's attention, his videos of date talk of none of that. They are upbeat and positive and yes, even calming. He said he wanted to create videos for the viewer who perhaps had no father to teach them these life skills he teaches on his videos.
Okay, and we talk, it's more than just how to fix things. It's how, how to manage your life and adulting.
Either because dad was absent from their lives or even was present but had their issues, if you will, or for whatever reasons did not teach their children these life skills. He also said he was not seeking fame or fortune at all, unlike many who do join the platform. He was not seeking to be an influencer, as we call them these days. He was just looking for an activity to pass the time during the quarantine. But all that alone is not the only reason for his YouTube success. It's a good chunk of it, but not the whole story. Whether or not he was seeking to be an influencer or chasing clout, he did. He found it. And here where the timing of the insurrection of DadHowDoI comes to play. How it was vital to his current overnight success on the platform. Just before I get into that, of note is the comment section of all his videos. Let's take a look at some of them, shall we? As you can see, where this is you can see a pattern in many of these comments. A lot of them grew up without dads themselves, and they seem to have found a father figure of sorts on YouTube, if you will. Now, to understand through pop culture the role of the dad, I'll give you one example from the early 70s. One must go back to that time. If anyone is old and uncool as I am, you would remember the Brady Bunch, a show that was popular in the late 60s, early 70s. Yeah, sickeningly sweet, enough to get diabetes watching them. It was amidst a backdrop of much change and upheaval in America. There was the sexual revolution. Roles that were once clearly defined were no more. The Vietnam War, drug experiments, societal unrest. And entertainment or pop culture changed. Storylines to TV shows, the music, more experimentation with the arts, etc. America was in a world of uncertainty. And as a society, we always fear the unknown. None of that was ever mentioned in a Brady Bunch storyline, of course. However, the patriarch of the show, Mike Brady, was looked upon as America's father. The man who can solve problems in under 20 minutes. Of course, not based in reality at all. But one can forget their troubles, or all the news they read and watched on the big TV screen for about a half hour with some catchy ads peppered in.
Plop, plop, fizz, fizz, oh, what a relief it is.
That brought comfort to many, which comfort many would seek in times of trouble or unknown. I guess the Beatles song Let It Be would be a perfect example of that. Fast forward to late winter, spring 2020, a pandemic of a novel virus that changes the world in a snap. New normals coming in. The world as we once knew it will never be again. Kind of much of what went on in the late 60s and the early 70s when the Brady Bunch was on the air. Of course, not nearly as problematic, to put it mildly, but you get the idea. Again, uncharted waters and an uncertain future for many around the world. It's brought confusion and upheaval. Even those who are fortunate enough to not get sick, nor have any loved ones around them get sick. People are losing their jobs. They're losing their savings. Healthcare systems are overwhelmed. Growing poverty as we brace for not only for a second and potentially third wave of this pandemic, but also a recession, potentially to be as bad as the Great Depression of the 30s. Most of us are dealing with loneliness and despair as we self-isolate, whether we're sick or not. We cannot go hug our loved ones in an effort to seek comfort in fear of catching the virus. Governments, who should be taking leadership now more than ever, are failing us miserably. Through all this turmoil and despair, Chicago man Rob Kenny, aka DadHowDoI, comes onto the scene and becomes an overnight hit with his how-to videos. Suddenly people in social media land have a new father figure to watch, to listen, to turn toward when we need a break from it all. A man to encourage us to do the best we can with what we have, with
You got this.
a humble man who turned the word self into an acronym. Important because in this case, the word self does not imply selfishness at all. In fact, if I were to hazard a guess, selfishness was the last thing on his mind.
Okay. And when I say be good to yourself, I got to clarify because that could be taken a few different ways. I do not mean being selfish. And so
A man who shows us that one does not have to be a model or a drama queen or a shock jock or even a train wreck to make it big on YouTube. A man many in social media land already call Dad.
I love you. I'm proud of you.
That's going to about do it for this video. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a thumbs up on the way out the door. Also, please consider subscribing and hit that little notification bell thingy below so you can be notified every time I upload or go live. Also, I have a Discord server which has rooms for all tastes, anything from a venting corner, peer-to-peer support, to just getting room with your memes, political chat, shoot the shit, that kind of thing. Something for all tastes. The link to my Discord server is in the description box of this video. If you wish to support the channel, you may do so through Patreon. Go check out my Patreon page. I put on more personal content that I'm test driving on a smaller audience, if you will. But I also do some fun reactions there too, so go check it out for as low as $1 a month. And also, for a one-time donation, I also have a PayPal link. So that's also in the description box below. Please take care of yourselves and each other, especially during these times, turbulent times. And if there is somebody in your midst or who is at risk, please take the time to give them a call or DM them through their social media. Sometimes having that sympathetic ear makes all the difference in the world to that person's life. Straight talking Fedora Chick over and out.